Only person me fear I just got down cops. Me don't want see no one cuff. Can't take no tie strap. The want me leap on ground with me face down flat. Me have some place where me nah go back. Me know a few bridge where you fi burn down. So it no make sense to take your heart. Give people them still say you a pussy when the right time come. You a whole heap of pressure. Anyway money they and pleasure. You see whole heap of jealousy and hater. Them want all for themselves, them a scraper. You and when they check your ratio, them a memory of is a shoot like a paint job. But anything they say me do the opposite.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I would like to first thank you for continuing to watch my videos, and I would like to dive into this topic. This week I do want to dive right into the topic of police brutality. We know it, we hear it, we live it. So I feel like it is important to recognize it and address it on my channel. So that is exactly what we're going to do today, is just focus on police brutality. Like when I do talk about something, I do want to at least have some information about what I'm talking about. And thankfully, when I was in my, I think, summer year of my 4th year, so it was a summer course that I took in my 4th year, and it was reading the news. And it basically challenged us to read the news in a critical perspective. And because I'm a Black individual, I focused on the news and their depiction of Black people in the media. And all I saw when I was doing like my reports were the Black body as a criminal, or looked to be as a criminal, or criticized with racial slurs. So anyways, there was this project that they had asked us to do, and I decided to work on police brutality. And this is the information that I got about police brutality before I was like, yeah, I'm gonna write this paper. But listen. So people don't really know this, but the police originated in America in 1704, and it was to patrol slaves and to maintain order in recovering and punishing Black slaves who were either looking to run away, who needed to be put into punishment for, say, maybe acting out and things like that. And that is actually the originating form of the police department. And then in 2014, Eric Garner became the recent attention for police violence in the present day America due to the fact that it was caught on camera. Before, when police brutality was happening, we weren't able to see it with our eyes on camera. And now in the media, social media age, it is amazing because we're able to catch them in the act so they can't lie against us. And we're able to post it to a wide source where people can react and comment on it. So that's why I think the Eric Garner news story became very prominent, because it was recorded and it was facts, like stuff that we could actually see. So in 2018, this is the topic that I was focusing on, was Stephen Clark, and he was shot and killed in his grandma's backyard. And basically, I think it took them 6 seconds or 10 seconds to decide that he was dangerous, and they both shot him. The worst part about it was the people that were in the incident one officer was Black and one officer was white. So it makes it very complicated to say, okay, is this a racial attack or is it not, because there was a Black officer? But of course it was, because you reacted and you didn't actually think about what was happening. So yeah. But the point is, police brutality started in 1704, and it is in our present day, 2019. And until we break down the structures of how they actually originated, we won't be able to get anywhere in this fight to rectify what's going on. So for me, the problem with police brutality is their pleading ignorance, where when they first started killing us off and it became widespread on social media, a lot of them looked very scared and they were like, oh my gosh, well, like, I feared for my life. I had to react. This was a dangerous, hostile situation. However, if you were trained to do a job and react in hostile situations, why is it that when you see a Black body, all your training goes out the door? And then that law where it says you're innocent until proven guilty. When did you, the police officer, become the judge, the lawyer, and the caseworker? You decide that because he looks dangerous, you're going to end his life before at least putting him through the trial system so that he can at least fight and say, no, I am innocent because this, and this. So when they use these excuses, I really find it very hard to believe, because I'm a very critical thinker. If you are in a situation where you feel dangerous, obviously you want to protect yourself, but imagine how that person on the other side is feeling when you're putting a gun straight to their face and when you're saying, oh, if you don't do this, you're going to get shot. Obviously, they're afraid too. So if they react in an instant because of something that you're saying, it's out of fear too. And for you to react out of fear is deathly because you have the weapon, whereas they can only say, please don't. And I don't think that's fair. I find it very important that the origin of the police brutality or the origin of the police is very important, because if an organization was formed to basically menace these individuals who are trying to free themselves from captivity, how is it that a couple hundred years later, we are still doing the same things? Instead of runaway slaves, you can call them gangsters and thugs, because those are the ones that you are giving the power to, and then once you are like, okay, they don't deserve all this power, you take it away from them and you start killing them. Or how about those innocent people that are just walking down the street, students who aren't even into any of the drug world, who are just walking home or who are just in their car minding their own business, but because they have a black pigmentation in their skin, you consider them to be savages, you consider them to be unsafe, and then you use force that you don't really need to use in order to protect yourself. If you wanted to really protect yourself, you would use all the resources that you have, your body cam, your taser. Why is it that when it comes to interacting with black bodies, you use the first deathly weapon that you have on your body instead of using the ones that can at least put them into submission for a minute? Like, if you're in a situation where you are afraid, why are you taking out your gun and not using a taser? The taser can do just as much damage as a gun can, except it's not deathly, you know? So it doesn't make sense to me how they rationalize the reasons why they have attacked an innocent person, because in reality, you had so many other opportunities, you had so many other choices, but you decided to take the worst one to end a life. And when you do that, that is a problem, because that life is something important. Whether or not you see it or don't believe it, they have a story that you don't see. For Stephen King, he had kids, he had a girlfriend, and he had a family. And for you to take his life in an instant, it doesn't make sense to me, because at the end of the day, now that family has to suffer, they have to go through these pains. And I understand that with the oppressor, they want to keep us down and make sure that we stay down. But like, what happened to that sense of humanity where everybody is a human first and we have to be compassionate? If we're not compassionate to our own, how can we be compassionate to the animals? You always want to save these animals, but what about the people that are here telling you that we're being hurt, we're being broken? Are you going to save us? Are you going to do anything about that unless it costs money? No. If it costs money, you don't want to do a thing. If you feel like keeping us down in the gutters is going to keep you rich, well, anybody who makes an enemy has to know that we're going to come fighting. The thing about police brutality is that I personally would consider it modern day terrorism, in the sense that these are innocent people that you're attacking. Whether or not they are guilty of a crime, you've taken that opportunity for us to figure it out away from them by killing them instantly. And if you are walking down the street killing people off, people categorize that as terrorism. But because you are a law enforcement, you don't get that title. But in reality, you are a terrorist. You're terrorizing our Black community, and you're terrorizing these people who are usually considered innocent until proven guilty with your laws. So I just don't understand how we haven't been able to detect it or recognize it as the fact that this is modern day terrorism. And to piggyback off of that terrorism from police brutality, if you look at what we are seeing in the news and the media, most of our terrorists are of Caucasian descent. A lot of the people that are going into the schools and shooting up our wonderful children who are then dying and being traumatized at that experience are all of Caucasian descent. And it just makes you really think, is it really the Mexicans on the other side of the border that we need protection from, or the people within the society that we need protection from? And I want to say the community that I'm referring to is not only USA, but Canada, because Canada and the US have similar pasts. They came from the same continent, like they came from Britain, and they both share the same cultures and the same beliefs. Like if you consider it all, like they all brought slaves, they all colonized the natives, and they all are the ones that are reaping a harvest of the people who they've oppressed, such as the Japanese and the Chinese and the Indians. They've basically oppressed everyone in the world except for themselves. Actually, they started with themselves and then continued from there. But what I'm saying is, when you consider all of the historical facts and you put it together, you realize that the people we need saving from are the people that are in power. And we won't be able to be saved from them until we open our eyes and realize that they are the ones that are keeping us down. Because if you are in a system and you recognize that something is horrible, such as police brutality, and you see that everybody in your community is reacting to it, Black Lives Matter, or people on social media saying, I don't agree with it, and you keep going on with it, it means that it's something that you want. It's not something that is there that, oh, we're going to fix and we're going to repeal. It's there because that's what you want. You want to keep us down. You want to inflict fear so we don't have any opportunity or progress to grow. And if we have that progress, you can just shoot us down and it's gone. But that's not what's going to happen, because we are slowly but surely waking up, and that divide and conquer tactic that you have for us is not going to work anymore. Because once we finally wake up and see the truth for what it is, we have to react. And honestly, it can be in a nonviolent way, like Martin Luther King said, but from all of the experiences that I've at least witnessed, every time Black people try to come together and step up and say, hey, you know what, this is wrong and we want to stick together, all we see is polices geared up in their anti-riot gear with guns and things like that to make sure that we don't disturb the peace. But we came on peaceful understanding. So if you come to a peaceful rally with a gun, what peace are you really going to see? So those things are just always in my head when I'm considering the aspects of police brutality, because it's been here and it's just frustrating at the fact that we haven't been able to rectify it. Like, some communities have been able to repeal the laws and make it a little bit easier for people to have a better chance at being protected. But it's still present. And even with those body cams, like, all we now do is see the graphic content of their interaction. It's not saying that, okay, we saw the graphic interaction, these people are going away. They're usually put on paid leave, even though you saw it. So, like, we have to find another way to respond to this, because, true say, if this is how society is going to go, like, I fear for my kids. I really do, because I'm a Black body and I have every single intention of marrying a Black body, and our kids are going to be Black bodies. So if I have to put them out into the world and they have to deal with this constant police brutality even after they're at the age, like 20 years from now, I'm going to be pissed. And I'm going to tell them to wake up and wake their friends up, because we all got to wake up sometime. We can't always be asleep. When it comes to police brutality, the one thing that is always on my mind is, how did you respond when Billy did it? Because when you are looking at the interactions they have with Black bodies and they have with Caucasian bodies, you can see that they hold their restraint, they use their training, and they're not fearful. Even though those bodies are with guns, massacring people in schools, are attacking them, fighting them in order to get away, and doing the most. No guns have been used. No tasers have been used. Just, oh, listen to me and come, put your hand behind your back. No. If you are going to show restraint for your white people, you have to do it for all people. Because if you say that we are all born equal and this is a fair and honest country, or whatever you like to say, then you have to make it make sense. Because if we see documented proof of you showing restraint, you can't tell me you don't have the capacity to show restraint for our Black bodies. It doesn't make sense to me. So if you have the ability to keep your restraint for your own people, do it for ours. Because I'm not going to let any of this slip. All of these little things that don't add up, I'm ready to unpack it and show you that we're watching and we understand. So if we understand that we know that you're up to something wrong and we're not going to let it sit, at least not I. Not I. Usually the people that we see that are targeted are non-violent. Like in terms of black bodies, we always see them being very cooperative with the officer, doing everything they say, yet they are still being killed off. So is it the violence that they're afraid of, or is it the power that we harbor that they're afraid of? Everybody who knows anything knows that black people were basically the first people on this earth. And we will most likely be the last people on this earth. You tried to oppress us. You tried to do all that you could to get us down. And we're still here standing strong. So I don't really think that your abuses are going to work for long, especially because we're realizing the power we have within. And once we realize that, we will stick together. But what I'm trying to say is, if you're going to do something, make it make sense. Because if it doesn't make sense, then you shouldn't be doing it. So what is the solution? I personally think that the solution would be a reformation of the current system. Like, reform it entirely. Because if the organization was set upon protecting the whites from their black runaway slaves, then you know that there's something wrong. And if that policy is what founded the organization, you have to realize that it's not going to change until you make that change. So I say readjust the policy and look at what the rules are that you need and see if it fits all races. Because a lot of the things that we see are meant to benefit the white oppressor. But if he is talking about unity and collectivity and all of those things, we are one and we are equal. So if the oppressor is oppressing someone that is equal to him, then there's something wrong. So we have to change that. And in order to change that would be to level the playing field. Everything that they were able to get away with, we should be able to not get away with, but figure out a way to make it make sense. So say, if you are robbing a convenience store, the white person gets away with it, but the black person dies. Make it make sense. If somebody is in the act of doing a crime, arrest them, take them into the cell, and let them await the trial. Do not be the judge. Do not be the jury. Just be yourself and do your job, which is to serve and protect. Protect who? Your society. Where is your society? It's kind of now a multicultural melting pot, so you can't just protect the white oppressor anymore. You have to protect each and every citizen, because what is the point of saying, I pledge allegiance to the flag, if the flag is not going to be there to protect us? I feel like another way to change the system that we are looking into is to do a diverse hiring, you know? If you look in the system, I'm pretty sure you'll see most of our police officers are predominantly white. And that's not an issue if they're doing their job right and actually maintaining the peace. But we need a diverse system where we can have Latinos, we can have Natives, we can have Asians, we can have a diverse group of people, and it's actually equal, where it's 25% Asians, 25% whites, 25% Indians, 25% Natives, 25% Black. And here you are, a huge group of diverse police officers who may or may not have prejudice, but who are diverse enough to maybe shut down a prejudiced police officer because they have been through that, say, stereotype or prejudice. And because it's a diverse system, there's less stereotypes because those racialized groups are going to be able to inform those people. I feel like the good thing about multicultural systems or a multicultural society is that we can wake each other up. Say, for example, an Asian person and a Black person are interacting. We have our own stories and traumas, and they have their own stories and traumas. Once we tell each other our stories and traumas, we either have two options: react in a positive way or react in a negative way. If we react in a negative way, then we close that bridge. But if we're looking to repair the bridge and find that solution, we react in a positive way and we learn something about that person, and we realize that they're just like us. They've been oppressed, they've been stressed, and they're just trying to live their life and trying to get on top. And once you come to that realization, they're no longer the enemy. They're someone who has gone through the same things that you have gone through. I also feel like they need to create a policy for unlawful deaths. because a lot of these white officers are getting off with paid leave, or they could get transferred to another department after the trauma they've caused and hurt on a family. Usually when somebody does an act of crime, they are put on trial and they're either sent to jail or they have to do something that is able to basically get them better. So with the police system, they have to have a policy for unlawful deaths where if somebody dies at the hand of that person, they have to do not only an investigation, the person loses their job, as well as they are now even facing time. Because these policies where it says, okay, well, he was scared, he got away, like that's okay, it's not fair to the people who lost that parent because that person was shot, or who lost that son because that person reacted very irrationally. So if somebody has pain, it should be a justice system and their pain should be recognized, and that person who did the act, whether or not they're racist or not, should be punished for that exact act. Because if these police officers aren't being punished, you need to take those people that are in the jail cells that have been punished for years, because they're basically the same. They're killing recklessly but getting away with it because they have a badge. It's unfair to the people who have been sitting in jail cells killing people because they didn't have a badge, it wasn't okay. Like, obviously, I wouldn't want the criminals to be running rampant, but if we have modern day criminals in our justice system, they need to either be put away or have everybody else get the same treatment as them, because it's not fair. Last thing is, we need to have a better training system. You can't train somebody to become a police officer in 6 months. I personally am trying to become a teacher, and that took me 6 years to complete. How is it that me, an educator who is going to be teaching the next generation, has 6 years of education, but the police academy is only 9 months? You gotta make it make sense. If you're gonna train somebody to be in a hostile situation, 6 months isn't gonna be enough. You have to train them for every situation, and you have to show them restraint and let them know how to respond and react, and show them I've given you the tools on how to interact with your people. So if it comes back to you've killed somebody or you did something out of the heat of the moment, it's on you because your training was, say, 5 years now. And it couldn't have come out of your mind just because you're on the job. It means that you were deliberately looking to find somebody to attack, and you did it, and now you're using that I'm scared excuse so that you can get away with it. No. If you have a stronger training system and a more concrete policy on how to punish these individuals that are killing off our people, then we are able to finally find a solution to the problem. Until we are able to pinpoint a solution, to all my Black individuals that are watching and paying attention, there are some tips that we can do to be mindful and protect ourselves when we do interact with police. The first one is know your rights. I know it seems redundant, but once you know your rights, you are able to tell the police officer, no, you can't say this, you can't say that. Like, say the police officer is, you're under arrest for robbery. All right, I will not speak to you until I speak to my lawyer. Or do you have an arrest warrant? These questions will put these police officers who are doing things unlawfully backtracked, because you are now knowing your right and knowing that you have the right to a lawyer and you have the right to a warrant. If they don't have a warrant, they don't have you. And a lot of people don't know that. They just follow what the police say because they think it's law, and it's not. Police officers lie. They lie all the time. That's why there is that video that came out when they see us. Because the police officers lied. They abused these little kids until they were able to admit to something that they didn't do. Police officers lie all the time. In all these interactions where I was scared. You weren't scared. You just wanted to do it. Police officers lie. So know your rights so that when they do lie, you can get back at them and show them facts, you know? As long as you have the facts, they can't really do much. They can do whatever they want to do at the end of the day because they're all human. But when you have your facts, it makes it harder for them to get away with it. Always record. And make sure that if there is an interaction, make it public, because a lot of things that happen are usually when it's just you and them and it's your word against theirs. If it's in a public place, there are eyewitnesses and they are able to at least say, no, that's not how it went. I was there, I saw it. Or if you record it, You could say, no, that's not how it went. We'll look at it, and then show them the facts. As long as you have facts and you can prove your innocence, they have no control over you because they are our puppets that are supposed to serve and protect. So if you show them that you are safe and you are a citizen who has rights, they can't touch you. So know your rights and just be safe when you are out there because they are dangerous, and you want to make sure that you're protected and protect your kids. Teach them about their rights too. Teach anybody who has the opportunity to listen, whether they're yours or not. Be what we want, a community that protects each other. Talk to your Black kids, talk to your Black people that are on the street, and let them know. We gotta protect ourselves. So that is all I have to say this week. I know it was a very heavy topic and there's so much I wasn't able to say that I still want to say, but just know that police brutality is a problem in America, and that's in Canada and USA, not just the USA. Police brutality is a problem in America, and we need to fix it. The only way we can fix it is by recognizing the problem, seeing where it came from, and finding a way to unpack it. Once we get there, we can figure it out, but until then, stay safe and don't let them get the best of you. Until next time, you know how it goes. Have a great life, month, and year.
Them not see the blessings that show like rain on me. The more time them a just see them can't stop me. The only man who fear Almighty. Me no want the police. Mankind so evil. Look what Christ do for them. Look what them do to Christ. Me a no superhero, me can't save the world, and me wouldn't if me have a choice. I know when me a go. Surely know where me a go. And anywhere the wind blow. Only person me fear are just the damn cops.